Could Dexter Morgan, the blood spatter analyst turned serial killer, truly evade the FBI's most wanted list? For over 2 decades, he killed without detection, operating right under the noses of homicide detectives. But how would his meticulous methods stack up against the full weight of federal resources tracking his every move? Today, we're diving deep into whether Dexter's cunning could keep him free if the FBI were actively hunting him, revealing a surprising truth about what it really takes to stay invisible. First, let's examine planning and preparation. Dexter Morgan never rushed a kill. Every target underwent weeks or even months of careful observation before he ever made a move. Throughout the series, Dexter demonstrated obsessive preparation. In Season 1, while tracking the ice truck killer, he spent weeks analyzing crime scenes and patterns before deducing that his biological brother, Brian Moser, was responsible. In Season 4, Dexter dedicated over a month to studying Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity killer. He attended Mitchell's public appearances, followed him home, and even posed as a man named Kyle Butler to infiltrate Mitchell's family life. He learned Mitchell's pattern, murdering a young boy, bleeding a woman in a bathtub, pushing a woman to her death, and beating a father of 2 to death with a hammer. Dexter tracked Mitchell's construction charity work across multiple states, meticulously documented his movements, and only went for the kill after he had overwhelming proof that Mitchell deserved it, according to Harry's code. This approach gave Dexter complete control over his targets. He knew their schedules, their habits, and their vulnerabilities. When he finally moved, his victims never saw it coming. This level of preparation meant no rushing, no panic, and no mistakes from acting too fast. He studied blood patterns for his job, understood crime scene investigation, and leveraged that knowledge to avoid leaving evidence behind. His kill rooms took hours to set up, with plastic sheets precisely measured and taped down, tools cleaned and organized, and sedatives measured based on body weight. That level of control meant something huge: Dexter had time. Time to watch, time to plan, time to make everything perfect before taking any action. So, how does that compare to fugitives who had federal agents breathing down their necks while just trying to stay alive? FBI most wanted fugitives rarely had the luxury of planning anything. They lived in constant panic, making split-second choices while law enforcement tracked them everywhere. Ted Bundy escaped from a Colorado jail twice in 1977. The first time, he jumped out a courthouse window during his hearing. The second time, he cut through a cell ceiling, crawled through air ducts, and dropped into a guard's apartment. After that second escape, Bundy stole cars, used stolen credit cards, and murdered 3 more women within weeks. He was falling apart. Planning had gone out the window. Police finally apprehended him in Pensacola, Florida, a mere 6 days after the murder of Kimberly Leach. He was driving a stolen Volkswagen Beetle so erratically that a police officer pulled him over for a traffic stop. All the careful planning that made Bundy dangerous before his arrest completely vanished once he was on the run. When the FBI puts someone on the most wanted list, planning stops and pure survival begins. Every choice becomes about the immediate present: finding food, finding shelter, finding a way to move, all while federal agents work across state lines, track money, and distribute photos to every police station nationwide. Eric Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber, spent 5 years hiding in the Appalachian Mountains to stay free. He survived by digging through trash, stealing from cabins, and living in the woods. That kept him from getting caught, but he was just surviving. He couldn't plan. He couldn't move freely. He could only hide. Dexter spent months preparing each kill. Most wanted fugitives spent months just trying to wake up tomorrow without handcuffs. So, the winner here is Dexter. Careful preparation with all the time in the world triumphs over fugitives forced to make panic decisions every day. Planning wins when nobody's actively hunting you. Dexter's preparation gave him control because he set the timeline. That advantage disappears the second someone starts hunting you, which brings us to the next big difference: resources and support. Dexter Morgan ran a completely independent operation. No accomplices, no criminal contacts, no outside help that could betray him or leave trails. From the very first episode, Dexter worked alone. He didn't need money launderers, safe houses, or criminal associates. His normal life provided everything: a real paycheck from Miami Metro, an apartment in his own name, and a boat for dumping bodies. In Season 2, when Lila West killed Dozes in that Everglades cabin, Dexter didn't thank her. Instead, he cut her out completely because she had become an uncontrollable liability. When his brother Brian wanted them to team up in Season 1's finale, Born Free, offering to kill together, Dexter killed Brian instead. Harry's code demanded it, and partnerships meant vulnerabilities. And Dexter knew this implicitly. He lived in Iron Lake for nearly a decade without a single partner, maintaining his Jim Lindsay cover by working a regular job and seamlessly fitting into the community. No partners meant no betrayals. Dexter never worried about someone getting busted and making a deal. He never feared a partner talking. He controlled all the information because he was the only person who had it. This total self-reliance extended to his kills. He didn't need to buy untraceable weapons or hire specialists. He worked in forensics, which gave him access to M99 animal tranquilizer, knowledge about disposing of bodies, and an insider's understanding of how investigations work. Operating alone also meant limits, though: no one to back up his alibi, no one to help if things went sideways, no network to help him vanish if police closed in. Which makes you wonder, how did fugitives with entire criminal organizations helping them fare when the FBI decided they needed to be caught? Many FBI most wanted fugitives had huge criminal networks, vast sums of money, and international connections, advantages that should have kept them hidden forever. James Whitey Bulger spent 16 years on the FBI's most wanted list with about $25 million in cash, serious criminal connections, and decades of experience running Boston's organized crime. He kept moving: New York, Louisiana, Wyoming, California, using fake names and paying cash for everything. His brother, William, was a powerful Massachusetts State Senate president. Bulger even benefited from corrupt FBI agents who warned him before his 1994 indictment, giving him time to run. Despite all those advantages, the FBI found him in Santa Monica in 2011 after a neighbor recognized his girlfriend from an FBI publicity campaign. Osama bin Laden had an entire terrorist network protecting him, safe houses in Pakistan, and money from Al-Qaeda's worldwide operations. The FBI, working with the military and CIA, still found him after 10 years. Resources and networks gave these fugitives short-term wins, but those same networks created weak spots. Every person who knows where you are could become an informant. Every money move can be traced. Every contact becomes a risk. Bulger's girlfriend ultimately gave him away. Bin Laden's courier led operatives to his compound. The second a fugitive depends on other people, they introduce variables they cannot control. Dexter never had that problem because he never created those weak points. So once again, the winner is Dexter. Criminal networks provide resources but introduce fatal weak spots. Dexter's total independence meant that nobody could snitch because nobody knew anything. Dexter's self-sufficiency kept him invisible, but that only worked if he could stay hidden when law enforcement started looking. So let's see how his hiding tactics measured up. Dexter Morgan knew that the best hiding spot was right out in the open: a regular job, a regular house, a regular life that gave investigators absolutely nothing suspicious to find. Throughout the original series, Dexter maintained a steady cover. He worked at Miami Metro Homicide, attended department meetings, showed up at crime scenes, and assisted with investigations. In Season 3, he befriended Assistant District Attorney Miguel Prado, attending social events and building relationships that made his normal guy act even more believable. He married Rita Bennett, a single mother with 2 children, and in Season 4, they had a son together, Harrison. He bought a house, paid a mortgage, paid taxes, and appeared in public records as a boring forensic analyst. Even after faking his death in Hurricane Laura at the end of Season 8, Dexter rebuilt the exact same type of life in Iron Lake, working at Fred's Fish and Game, dating police chief Angela Bishop, and living in a cabin where he knew his neighbors and participated in town activities. This approach turned normal life into a weapon. Investigators look for unusual patterns: people who only pay cash, avoid cameras, move around constantly, or have no work history. Dexter had none of those red flags. He existed in every database exactly as he should. His bank account showed regular paychecks from real jobs. His tax returns matched what he said he earned. His social media, barely there but present, showed a boring suburban dad. When Miami Metro investigated the Bay Harbor butcher in Season 2, Dexter sat in the room, helping crack the case. He looked at evidence, suggested theories, and even helped build the profile of the killer himself, all while Special Agent Frank Lundy ran the federal task force. The brilliance was simple: if you look like everyone else, nobody looks at you. But what about fugitives who couldn't blend in because their faces were plastered on wanted posters in every police station and post office across the country? When someone lands on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, blending in becomes impossible. Their face is everywhere, forcing them into total isolation and constant running. Robert William Fisher allegedly killed his wife and 2 children in Scottsdale, Arizona, in 2001, then blew up the house and vanished. The FBI put him on the 10 most wanted list in 2002. Despite reported sightings across the western United States and Mexico, Fisher has never been located. The FBI believes he probably died in the wilderness, but his disappearance required cutting himself off completely from society. He couldn't get a job, couldn't rent a place, couldn't use his real name for anything. Ted Bundy, after his 1977 escape, tried blending into Tallahassee, Florida, using a stolen credit card and living in a cheap boarding house. Within weeks, his photo had been spread enough that people recognized him, forcing him to keep moving. Police caught him shortly after. The FBI's 10 most wanted list goes out to roughly 18,000 law enforcement agencies. Photos hit border crossings, airports, bus stations, and hotels. Media coverage makes everyone aware. The publicity makes normal life impossible. You can't walk into a bank, rent an apartment, or fill out a job application without risking someone recognizing you. Eric Rudolph survived 5 years in the Appalachian Mountains by avoiding people almost entirely. He lived off what he could steal and scavenge. A rookie police officer in Murphy, North Carolina, caught him in 2003 digging through a dumpster behind a Save-A-Lot grocery store at 4 a.m. 5 years of perfect hiding ended because he needed food. Dexter went to work every morning at a police station. Most wanted fugitives couldn't even go to a grocery store without risking everything. So once again, our winner is Dexter. Living a normal life in plain sight triumphs over being forced underground with your face on every wanted poster. Visibility wins when you're not actually being hunted. Hiding in plain sight only worked because Dexter never triggered the one thing that destroys anonymity, which brings us to how law enforcement attention gets activated in the first place. Dexter Morgan specifically targeted people society wouldn't miss: killers who slipped through the justice system, criminals already hiding from law enforcement. Harry's code for Dexter was specific: only kill people who are guilty of murder and have escaped legal justice. Throughout the series, Dexter's targets were drug dealers, child molesters, serial killers, and violent criminals. In Season 2, when scuba divers accidentally found his underwater graveyard off the Miami coast, they recovered 18 dismembered bodies. Every single one belonged to a known criminal: people with records, people who evaded prosecution, people who slipped through legal cracks. When the FBI dubbed him the Bay Harbor Butcher and launched a massive investigation led by Special Agent Frank Lundy, they built a profile, but they struggled with motive because the victims were all violent criminals themselves. The victim selection was strategically brilliant. Nobody was looking for these people. When a drug dealer vanishes, other criminals don't file missing person reports. When a killer who beat a murder charge disappears, detectives don't launch investigations. Dexter's body count could climb because he was removing people from a world that already operated in shadows. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only happened because of an accidental discovery. Divers looking for treasure stumbled onto his dumping ground. Without that accident, Dexter's victims would have remained missing indefinitely. Compare that to fugitives whose crimes were so public, so violent, so impossible to ignore that law enforcement had no choice but to make them priority targets. FBI most wanted fugitives typically committed crimes so public and devastating that law enforcement couldn't ignore them even if they wanted to. Eric Robert Rudolph bombed Centennial Olympic Park during the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, claiming one life and injuring 111 others. The attack happened during the world's biggest sporting event, with international media coverage. The FBI had no choice but to make him a priority. He was added to the 10 most wanted list in 1998 and caught in 2003. Timothy McVeigh bombed the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 1995, killing 168 people, including 19 children. The blast destroyed the building and damaged 324 other structures within a radius of over 3 kilometers. The manhunt for McVeigh involved every federal agency. He was caught within 90 minutes of the bombing during a routine traffic stop. But if he had escaped, the entire country would have been hunting him. These crimes demanded a federal response. Public bombings, mass casualties, attacks that made national news. Law enforcement didn't look the other way. The scale and visibility forced resource allocation. When Ted Bundy escaped and murdered 3 more victims in Florida, including 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, the media coverage was massive. His photo appeared everywhere. Witnesses came forward. Tips flooded in. The FBI created a profile and put him on the 10 most wanted list. He was caught within weeks. Dexter killed over 135 people across more than 20 years. Until that accidental discovery in Season 2, nobody even knew that those people were dead, let alone murdered by the same person. So once again, our winner is Dexter. Selecting invisible victims who nobody was looking for beats committing public attacks that force a massive law enforcement response. Invisibility triumphs over infamy when staying free is the goal. So what do you think? Could Dexter's victim selection have kept him off law enforcement's radar forever? Or would modern technology eventually catch him anyway? Drop your comments below. Dexter Morgan operated for over 2 decades. He worked inside a police department, surrounded by homicide detectives, and nobody suspected him. He built a system that worked. He followed Harry's code. He stayed invisible. Most wanted fugitives operated under the full weight of federal manhunts. Photos distributed to thousands of agencies. Massive rewards offered. Media coverage keeping their faces in public consciousness. Resources mobilized specifically to find them. The comparison seems straightforward until you realize that we're measuring 2 completely different games. Dexter succeeded because nobody was playing against him. His victims were people society had already given up on. His methods left minimal evidence. His cover life was so perfectly ordinary that it functioned as active camouflage. He had time to plan, resources from legitimate employment, and freedom to operate without anyone actively hunting him. Most wanted fugitives failed because the entire system activated against them. Their crimes were too public to ignore. Their faces became nationally recognizable. Their resources, however extensive, couldn't overcome coordinated federal pursuit. Whitey Bulger had $25 million and 16 years of experience evading capture. The FBI still found him. Eric Rudolph survived in the wilderness for 5 years. A rookie cop still caught him digging through the trash. Here's what makes this comparison unfair. If Dexter had committed crimes that put him on the most wanted list, public attacks, high-profile victims, media-generating violence, he would have been caught within months. His face would have been everywhere. His forensic expertise wouldn't have helped him once every cop in America was looking for him. His normal life cover would have collapsed the second his photo hit the news. But if most wanted fugitives had operated with Dexter's methodology, careful victim selection, meticulous planning, years of preparation, targeting people that nobody was looking for, they might not have made the list at all. Dexter's secret wasn't evading the FBI, he was making sure that they never even knew he existed. His genius was staying so far under the radar that nobody ever thought to look up. The fugitives on the most wanted list triggered the machine. Dexter understood how to avoid triggering it altogether. Calling that a fair fight would be a joke. They're playing two entirely different games. One group was running from the most powerful investigative force in the world. The other was walking past it every morning with a cup of coffee and a smile. If you found this deep dive intriguing, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more analyses like this.